for fun, let's talk about just ancient stuff.
Ancient stuff. We're gonna have a
Oh
chat about
yeah.
ancient stuff. I feel like there is an origin of truth in all
Yeah,
of
I
it. Like
think
something's
like
got to come from somewhere.
with all the myths and like the legends, the folklore, like dragons, they're dinosaurs. People stumbled upon dinosaur bones, so holy shit, that's a dragon. Makes sense, things like that. And with Egypt, I feel like when people look at their gods and they see like a crocodile head on a human body, no, it's not a crocodile head on a human body. It never looked like that. It's the embodiment of what the crocodile stands for. It's more like in that sense that they showed the gods like to be a falcon head or to be like a
Yeah, they didn't like
jackal.
walk around with a bird on
Yeah,
their face. And like the Native Americans, they're very much into animal embodying an animal. Like you are wolf,
yeah,
you are this, you are like. I think that's probably a real ancient thing that we don't really ever tap into anymore about how
yeah.
we would have like an animal kind of embodiment that this
Yeah.
person is. I love wolf. I mean, I marked myself with a wolf. My first ever tattoo is a
Oh.
wolf here that says wolf.
Ooh,
And
very nice. I
um,
like it.
yeah, I think if my animal embodiment would be a wolf for sure.
I would be a cat probably.
A cat?
A cat, yeah. My first
Well, in
tattoo was a cat.
Egypt.
I'm not sure if I can show, but like that's my
Oh
first
yeah.
tattoo. I got a cat. I got
Very
it for my
nice.
birthday last year when I turned 29. We learned a
Yeah.
lot from animals too. Like I made that
Now we
video about ancient air conditioning, like the wind catchers in Yazd in Iran. And many people like pointed out that, yeah, that's all fun, but like termites have been doing that for like millions of years. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. We copy things from animals and we make
yeah.
that into a thing in our own lives. That's how we
They
live.
probably saw like ants were really good at building stuff and moving stuff, and they were like, wait, if we organize ourselves like the ants, then we could probably do
And you
really
don't
big
need,
things.
and you don't need the wheel to move heavy objects because ants showed us.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, well, ants can lift 6 times their body weight.
Holy
But maybe
shit.
ancient humans could. I mean, we don't know. There is a brain specialist who is on he's on like Instagram and TikTok, and he analyzes brains and brain damage and personality traits, and he like explains everything about the brain that we know thus far. And
Yeah.
he was saying the difference between the male and the female brain and the kind of strengths and differences between them. And he said that the female brain is wired in such a way that it is exceptionally good at all the leadership skills, the problem solving,
Mhm.
and the delegating. And he said that brain wise, if you were going to pick somebody to be a leader or be a boss, the female brain is actually wired better to delegate and lead, and the male brain is actually better to take that and execute it.
Yeah.
But we've over time reversed that so that majority of leaders are men, but actually the female brain is very well adapted to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's like coming from one of the leading brain scientists, just really super interesting. And then when you look back in history, I was amazed at when we went to Dendera and there was the temple of Hathor. Apparently that's how it's not Hathor, it's Hathor.
Hathor.
Hathor, yeah. And
Yes.
she to find out that the ancient Egyptian and the pre-Egyptian, it was a matriarchal society, and it was the women that like held the keys to the powerhouse. And that explains, I think I've mentioned this before, but it just blew my mind, that because the Egyptian dynasties were so into bread.
Yeah.
And they were all inbred.
Yeah.
And this is why, because to stay attached to the family and to be attached to the power, you had to be associated with the female of the family. So they had to keep
I made a whole video about
their
this.
sisters.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's why, because otherwise it's like, why? I thought it was just to like keep the blood pure. No, it's to keep attached to the females, because the houses of the Egyptian households, it was her house.
It was like from Isis and Osiris. It goes all the way back to their story because she brought him back to life, and then he became the king of the underworld because he, well, you know, he died and then came back. But she was the one that gave him back his life. So she was the most important god. And that's
in the temples there, especially in Dendera and all over Egypt, the god, the big goddess, it's a goddess that is shown in the sky, and she's the one that gives birth to everything. And the fact that there's a massive argument that the Sphinx was originally a female embodied form, and it blew my mind that we have, and it was only the later, like Pharaoh, later on in the dynasties, that they switched it, and there was the Greeks and everything, the Romans, that took the power away from the women. I was like, what? Makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense. But like, if you want to know for sure that like your bloodline is pure and you're like of royal descent, it would only be known for sure if it was through the female. Because hey, like the female pushed the baby out, like there's no question about it. With the men, you don't know if it's his or another one's, you know, seed. But the woman, it's like, of course, like she gave birth, it's her baby, she's the
definitely
mom.
Her baby. Yeah, there's no contest about whether or not you're the mother. You are.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's interesting how that, maybe that, and I think that theme in a lot of ancient folklore and things about this, like the wise woman, the mother earth, even the oldest Sophia, like the oldest god, like the goddess of the universe, being you know, God as a woman. It's weird that we think of we've been kind of indoctrinated to think of God as a man.
Gaia, the goddess of the earth, the mother of the earth, mother nature. Earth, mother nature, like it says it in itself. Like if you go back far enough, gods weren't necessarily male. Of course, the females we held, well, at least in like the Stone Age and things like that, women were really important, and they were hunters. They weren't just gatherers. Like that's bullshit. It's just dumb to think that the women would only gather. No, if a woman was good with like a bow or like with a spear, she would for sure hunt. And there were males that would just gather because they couldn't throw a fucking spear. It's simple as that. Like everyone has qualities. Like it doesn't have to do anything with your gender. They found like Viking women with like complete warrior attire and stuff like that. Like yes, women were warriors. We were hunters. We did the same things as men. We weren't less. That only became a thing in like what, the past 1,000 years, 2,000 years.
It's
maybe.
Really modern. It's a really modern mindset, and when you like unlearn that, and I came to this like late in the day and was like, oh man, like I remember as a kid learning about the Boudica and the and she fighting the Romans, and I was like, wait, she was the leader of the army. That's mad.